Hello and welcome back to Liberia Library, where I talk about everything comics. Today's story is a beautifully inspiring and sometimes cruel journey about hope, and what that hope is worth. What would someone give to keep hope alive? I'm very excited to bring more attention to this story because it is absolutely incredible, and I feel it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. So like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and let's get into Low. Created by Rick Remender and artist Greg Tocchini, Low is about a post-apocalyptic world thousands of years in the future, where humanity was forced into the deepest parts of the ocean because of the sun becoming more and more radioactive. But it's so much more than that. Low is a truly inspiring story about no matter how bad things are, there is always hope for the future, and that hope is worth fighting for. Actually, Remender has even said in interviews that writing the story was a form of therapy for him. It helped him look at the world more positively, which makes sense when you start to read through it. Optimism is more of a fringe religion called quantumology in this absolutely cruel timeline, where the rich feed off the poor to stay fat and happy, while crooks and pirates take what's left, leaving nothing for the regular citizens. Hell, even art and reading is banned to keep the people complacent and hopeless. But honestly, this just makes me root harder for our main protagonist. This world is such an awful place that I want to see her reach her goal. And at the same time, I don't, because do really any of these people deserve what she's doing for them? Let's get into the first story arc and see. There are just 3 cities left that occupy humanity: Solace, Volden, and Paluma, who nobody has heard from in 20 years. Our main protagonist Stella and her husband Joel live in Solace. Joel's ancestor was one of the founding members of Solace that also created the helm suits, which were used for hunting and have been passed down through their generations. Each can only be used by the founder's descendants, but now only one is left: Joel Keynes. Okay, can we take a moment to appreciate how deep the lore for this series goes? And this is just scratching the surface. The world building is incredibly intricate for such a short series. I would love to see a prequel series or maybe a TV series that could expand upon the ideas that we only hear about through conversations in the comic. But I guess Tocchini's gorgeous artwork would be very hard to replicate. Even the gritty pirate-infested streets are so beautiful, which really fits the main theme of the story. That beauty and hope can be found in the most unlikely of places. Okay, now back to the story. Joel and Stella have 3 children. A son, Merrick, who is more like his mother, optimistic and smart, opting to be a mechanic instead of a hunter. And 2 twin daughters, Della and Tejo, more like their father, brave, craving an adventure. But less so Tejo. She's a little more nervous, but still ready and willing. It's the girls' first day training to be hunters. One of them will take over for their father when ready, but not only will they be hunting for big game to keep the city fed, but Joel has also been searching for Paluma, the lost city. Solace will eventually run out of clean air, sooner rather than later, and he hopes that Paluma will have extra ventilation air filters. But Stella believes this is just a pipe dream. She holds out hope that one day, one of the probes that were sent into space in the beginning will eventually return, with coordinates to a new habitable world, because the sun's radiation will spread even more, and keep pushing them deeper and deeper. The only hope for the human race she can see is a new planet to call home. This is the first time the girls have ever left Solace. They didn't expect the beauty and wonder they would see, but also the danger. Not far from Solace, they encounter a mammoth-class monster, but it's more than enough to fill their quota, so Stella gives chase, while Joel suits up. The mammoth inks their sub, blinding them. They then turn the sub around and see a massive pirate ship had blocked them in. They realize the mammoth had set a trap for them. A handful of the pirates then board the ship while the rest surround the outside. They then take Tejo hostage right away. The reason they were doing all of this was because the pirate leader Rom wanted the helm suit. It would help him get revenge for what Solace and the helmsman did to his mother and father, but he also knows he cannot pilot it. Rom has researched and read all about the helm suits and knows that the DNA bonding is optical, so all he would need would be Joel's eye. So he takes a knife and pops it out. But a helmsman's blood is very precious, so he takes Della and Tejo as well to make sure he succeeds at his goal, while Joel's left behind to bleed out. and eventually die in Stell's arms. We cut to 10 years later, and Merrick is a completely different person, changed by the events of 10 years ago. The emotional scars never healed. All hope this once bright, optimistic mechanic had is now lost in a sea of drugs and hookers. Now he's just another dirty cop in the rotted city of Solace. But as bad as things are, they are about to get much worse. Merrick hasn't paid the hooker for the last 2 sessions. She's hungry, angry, and has had enough. She calls for her pimp while Merrick's back is turned. The pimp draws his pistol and fires, but the round misses by an inch. It goes right through Merrick's cape. He returns fire and the pimp grabs the hooker using her as a shield. She's killed instantly. Merrick is then arrested and charged for murder. While all this is going on, Stell can't remember the last time she left her home. Sealed within a grave of memories, she watches home movies of better times, over and over again. Her last remaining child wanting nothing to do with her, not even on the anniversary of his lost siblings. Stell tells herself that she couldn't have survived for nothing. It had to be for a purpose. She goes and visits with the Messagey. He's kind of a high priest for quantumology. He tells her a story that I won't read out, but basically means she can't just sit around waiting for hope and purpose. She needs to do something, go out and find it. She then returns home and finds a device she uses to track the probes, has confirmed that one has returned to the surface with the coordinates to a habitable world. Stell then heads to the center to request a crew to retrieve the probe, but what she finds she did not expect. Solace only has 4 months left of clean air, and instead of protecting the people and trying to find a way to save the human race, they have chosen to hoard as much air as possible to stay alive for maybe another year or so they can indulge in their drug-fueled orgies a little while longer, while the citizens suffer and eventually die. Stell pleads her case, but the Senate refuses. Even the greatest minds in Solace have given up hope, and they have seen the truth, that the universe has given up on humanity, so she should too. They ask Stell to join them, but she makes another plea. This time Stell asks for her son to be released into her custody, with provisions and a ship, and the two would go alone. The Senate accepts, but mainly, I think it was to get her out of their face. But at least they agreed, and not a moment too soon, because Merrick was about to end it all. He was sorry his mother had to see him like that, but he thinks it's what he deserves. Fortunately for him, fate seems to have another plan. We then cut to them about to take off for their journey. Stell is finally hopeful again, but Merrick sees her hopefulness as just cruelty. That her whole life is just hiding from reality, and this mission is just a waste of time. But she tells him this really great line that is simple but effective. You were ready to die, so what does it matter? Plus they had already taken off without him knowing anyway. As much of a piece of garbage as Merrick thinks he is, it doesn't matter to Stell. The things he's done doesn't matter to Stell. It's all about the things he does now. That's what matters. Stell just wants him to try. Because they were busy arguing and neither were paying attention, they are suddenly snagged on a mammoth carcass. Stell has an idea though. They will swim all the way to Paluma, the lost city. But Merrick, just like everything else his mother suggests, thinks it's a crazy idea. Nobody has heard from Paluma in 20 years, plus they do not have enough air to make it all the way there. But also, as we know, nothing stops Stell. She swings the doors open, sucking them both into the massive ocean world. Merrick has never been out of Solace, so he has never seen the beauty and wonder of the ocean world. Stell can see in his eyes the hope returning. The little mechanic she once knew has found his way back to her. But that hope only lasts for a little while. Stell and Merrick were running out of air, and fast. Merrick then passes out, forcing Stell to carry him, with Paluma nowhere in sight. But then she remembers, Joel always said that Paluma is probably near the vents, so she checks her map and heads towards them. And it looks like Joel was right, because she found the city, and they both can finally breathe again. But I don't think it was what they expected. The entire city was nothing but pirates and cutthroats, gamblers and degenerates. Definitely not the paradise Joel used to speak about. They begin to search for the dock so they could steal a sub when they suddenly walk by the Coliseum. They see slaves fighting giant mammoths for the pirates' entertainment. But that's not all Stell sees. The man commentating the event she recognized right away. It was the man who tore her family apart. Ron. Merrick then tries to talk some sense into her. They are surrounded by thousands of cutthroats. They needed to leave, tell Solace, and come back with a fleet. But Stell cannot control her hatred for the man. She follows him and he leads her right back to her daughter Tejo. Roland had adopted her as his own and sold Della. She's now somewhere in Volden. Stell then stabs Roland in the belly. She wanted to make sure he never touches her daughter ever again, but it seems like it didn't even faze him. Roland then draws his sword, but Tejo pleads to spare her mother's life. She tells him that they can use her. She could get them into Saul's without losing any of his army. Stell is then dragged away while screaming to her daughter, "That man is not your father. He killed your father. He is not your father." We then cut to Merrick. He sneaks by Roland while he's getting drunk and telling the local horror stories of how the helmsman killed his parents. Merrick happens upon Tejo as he's looking for his mother. They embrace, then head towards the cells where Stell's being kept. On their way there, Merrick tells her all about how they ended up in Paluma, how their mother never gave up on them, and how they are trying to get to the surface, but she was just trying to distract him, catch him off guard. She then cracks him over the head. Tejo has either been completely brainwashed by Roland, or she has never forgiven what's left of her family for not coming to rescue her. 4 months later, Stell has not faltered. You can see the hope and rage in her eyes. She will get out, and she will save humanity. But first and foremost, she will kill Roland for everything he's done. And speak of the devil, Roland enters her cell. He taunts her and mocks her optimism. He then asks for the location of the probe, and even though Roland has her, Merrick, and Tejo's life in his hands, Stell still rather die than give up the probe's location. I think all the rumblings of Merrick becoming a hero in the Colosseum and preaching hope to the masses is what really kept her going all these months. Yes, Merrick has done a complete 180. He is now the famous leader of the slaves in Paluma. He has survived 89 battles in the arena, but not only this, he has also kept his team alive. He inspires them, brings them hope. Merrick has come a long way from that suicidal drug addict, and today he will fight his toughest battle yet. Him and his team will face off against a dreaded virus eel. But little does he know, the game has been rigged by Roland's brother Grom. He can telepathically control the beast, and he has promised her if she wins, her and her children will be set free. The fight is about to begin. Roland has brought Stell to watch, but as usual, there is no doubt in her mind that Merrick will win. Merrick jumps straight into the creature's mouth. Roland then tells Stell that Tejo is next if you don't give me the probe's location. But just as soon as he was swallowed, he slices a hole in the creature's belly, winning the fight. Stell then smiles and tells Roland she always bets on her son. But this was just a warm-up. The main event's about to begin. Merrick and his team fight the giant crustacean vigorously, but its shell is just like steel. The only way they're going to be able to take it down is to take out its eyes, the only soft spots on it. Meanwhile, Stell is trying to snap Tejo out of whatever reality she's in, telling her this man killed your father, and that's your brother down there, he loves you. But Tejo doesn't want to hear it. She blames her mother and father for everything that's happened to her. They shouldn't even have been out there that day anyway. They were just children, and Tejo never wanted to be a great warrior or hunter. Then suddenly Merrick is stabbed by one of the creature's claws. It then slams him to the ground and moves in for the kill. But Merrick pulls out a shell his father gave him. It's said that it shines as bright as the truth of one's heart. Whether or not that is the reason it shines, it was very bright, and it blinded the monster. Then Merrick pleads with the people of Paluma to rise up, that Roland is poisoning their minds, telling them that there is no hope. But there is hope. Somewhere out there is a beautiful green world waiting for them. Roland then charges Merrick. He stabs him through the chest, then pops out his eye just like he did his father. This is what finally snaps Tejo out of it. She takes the helm suit and then rips Roland in two. Meanwhile, Stell has been fighting Grom. He gets her in a chokehold, but she won't give up. She will make it to the surface, when suddenly Tejo comes crashing through the wall, killing Grom in the process. The women look around the Colosseum and see the people have risen up. Merrick has inspired them, and has died happy with hope in his heart. The city is now on fire. Stell and Tejo must move quick. Merrick's friends then find them. They steal a sub and all leave together. Except for Tejo. She believes the people of this city don't deserve to live. They are irredeemable in her eyes. So still in the helm suit, she blows up the city, taking everybody with it. She then tells Stell she isn't going with them, that she must find her sister. And this is the end of the first arc. I might cover the next arc, but as you guys know, I hate spoiling stories for you, so we will see. When I hear about Rick Remender, I always hear about Black Science or Deadly Class, but Low really is just as good. And I hope some of you pick this up and give it a chance. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.